Okay, what you saying, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you drop a drop a bell, hit the bell, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below. You can find discussions there, chat to other traders, including myself. And of course, you can learn a little bit more about Elevating Trades, the firm as well. And you can find your discount code there for 50% off. So if you're interested in that, make sure you go check it out. Link to that in the description below and also in the chat at the top of it. But guys, welcome back to another stream. CS Integrator, what is up? Morning, morning, morning. Hope everyone is well. As always, guys, I will go through I'll go through USD markets first. We'll take a look at the DXY, see what's happening in the USD world of things. We had some news yesterday, didn't cause too much movement. But we did have some news yesterday. We got some news today as well. We just had the Swiss interest rate, and now we've got the euro, I think, at 115. Let me just double check that. Yeah, euro at 115. So we'll see how that affects the market. But we did have CPI yesterday. Like I said, didn't cause too much movement. So we'll see what damage that has done. What's up, Ahmed? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Drop the likes, hit the bell. Appreciate that. See us integrated. If you guys are enjoying the stream, make sure you do go and drop the likes, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell as well. Dark Sean, what's up? Welcome, welcome. So we'll start with the dollar. So yeah, DXY, we had some news yesterday. Didn't see too much movement. A bit of wicks up and down. Price didn't really decide where it wants to go yet. Kind of indecision after that news event. But the analysis still stands from yesterday. If we do break through this 106, 600 level, 700 level, then I am looking at push back to the highs here around 107.7, 107.8. So yeah, if we do break through that, which of course we haven't done that yet, so that move is not on just yet. It could be, but we have to wait for the breakout. Then I can start talking about some buys on USD at least, and probably some further downside on some of the USD majors, euro, pound, etc. So USD is in a very pivotal place. If we do respect this area and start coming back down, then it just means we have a bit of a range on our hands. We've got some equal lows down here. Price respected that pretty well after NFP. And that looks like price is respecting that level so far after CPI. So if we do respect it, we've got a bit of a range on our hands. And either which way, there could be a nice healthy breakout. Like I said yesterday and the days before that and the weeks before that, with price trading at such heights and coming back into such key levels here, I can only be a bear at these areas, at least as a swing trader, because that's where I define the bigger move to be for the dollar is the swing back down again. If the market is going to break through this, and we do see a significant candle close on the daily chart, weekly chart above this area, then I'll be bullish, and then I'll start looking at some buys all the way back to the high, because that's the next key level for us at 113. So it's a very, very critical level where we're at, whether we're going to get the big sell or price is going to break out. In terms of the more intra-week markets price action, we are just kind of just back and forth at this level right now. So waiting for price to make its mind up, whether we are going to break through or not. At the moment in time, we're doing a pretty good job at respecting that area, but who knows, maybe we do get a strong close today. And if we do get that, then I'll be expecting a push back to 107.8 because we have broke structure a while ago. Market formed a lovely lower high. We formed a lower low. But after NFP, we failed to break through that low, which was very, very important. If price was going to remain bearish and continue to the downside, I would want to see a strong close below, not a big wick, and then price just pulling all the way back up and closing bullish. That's more of a sign of a double bottom and price respecting those lows. So yeah, not a good sign for the bears. And the fact is we push back to the highs now. And if you do break through that structure, this is the swing high that gave us that push. If you do break through that high, that's a sign of bullish behavior. And we're probably going to continue back to the highs at that point. So that's why if that level, that high does break, I'm going to be pretty bullish on USD, at least back to 107.8. Then we see what happens from there. Maybe respect it, form a massive double top, and come back down again. That could be a possibility. Or maybe we do get a big breakout. We'll analyze that closer to date. But at the moment in time, my main focus with USD is most definitely this 106.6 level. And yeah, price action is not looking too great there anyway. Dropping to the hourly chart. Yeah, just very sideways. It's rejecting so far, but I wouldn't say it's doing a very good job at that. So yeah, it depends what we do with that level, and that will dictate my bias. In terms of Euro USD, I'm still bullish on this one as well. Just like I'm still bearish with USD at those heights. I just don't really have a good opportunity. It's in a nice area for a buy, I must admit, for Euro, because this is our bullish structure we had from the past couple of weeks. We had the low down there, at the high, higher low, higher high. Now we're back into an area where, again, we can put another higher low in and possibly see that continuation to the upside. So if there's some really healthy rejection here, some nice confirmations, there could be some nice buys here to take it back up at least to the swing high here. Originally, I'm looking for a push back to these areas, but we'll take it as it comes. If we can get a swing back to the high, I think that's a great trade in itself. You can always leave some positions to trail and see if you can hit those higher time frame targets. But for now, Euro USD is still in a bullish area where I do expect buys to happen. But of course, if USD is going to break the 107.6 level, then you're probably going to expect Euro to do the same in the opposite direction, break through this area. And at that point, you're expecting Euro to make its way back to the lows here. So they're both pretty much in sync right now. It just depends if you're going to respect this area or not. At the moment in time, not really seeing evidence of that. We've had a nice bounce on the lower time frames, but the 4 hours isn't looking too great. We've left a big wick to the upside there on the hourly chart, and the exact same on the 4-hour chart as well. So we're not really seeing momentum off that area. Looks like we'll probably come back down for another retest. And who knows, maybe that could perform some nice rejections and it could look good in the afternoon for some longs, or maybe tomorrow, but not quite yet. So yeah, looking for another test. Maybe there might be some healthy buys, and of course some nice rejections of the of the DXY level as well. But yeah, just nothing high quality just yet, which is really what I'm looking for. In terms of pound USD, I'm looking at a similar thing, although this one has just been consolidating since we last spoke. I said it would be nice if we can get some pullbacks back into this area. Very similar setup to Euro in terms of we've got a lovely high, higher low, higher high. And again, looking for that pullback for the next higher low and then a continuation to the upside. So the exact same pattern, except Euro's actually had a pullback, whereas pounds just be moving sideways, because I think pounds a little bit strong. Euro's been a tad weak as well. So yeah, pound USD just been flat. So I'm not really interested in pound USD unless we do come back down. Otherwise, I just look at this as consolidation, and I wouldn't want to be getting involved in that. I still do like the sells from this area here, 1.285. I think that's still a nice area to short from. Again, depending how we get there and how we react. Not looking to jump straight in, but I do think that's a nice area to short from. Strong break of the structure, never came back for the retest. So there's a fresh area of resistance. So I do expect us to at least react if we do get there again. So I do like the shorts from up there, and I do like the longs from down here. But pound USD is doing neither. It's just moving sideways. So yeah, nothing much to report on there. Euro looks the better pair, but I want that to give me some better signals of us bouncing first. In terms of USD CAD, we did kind of see it move down, which doesn't really do much for me. I'm looking for a big break to the upside for dollar CAD before I do look for some pullbacks. So we do have some really nice bullish structure on our hands here. We've got the higher low from down there, if you guys can just about see it. Then we've got the higher high there, higher low, higher high over there. And again, another higher low. We just about pinched the high, but not anything confident with confidence or anything impulsive. So I'm not really buying into that just yet. As I was talking on the stream yesterday, I want to see a strong break of the high, then I'll look for pullbacks, because basically if I'm going to look to follow this trend, I want to see evidence that the trend is still healthy, that it's still likely going to continue. If the trend is showing me that it's about to slow down, it's becoming tired, fatigued, then it's not really a trend that I want to follow anymore, especially because of where we're trading. Because if we are going to be tired and fatigued, then that tells me that this might be a big fake out and price might come back down on itself very, very hard. So if we are going to really break through this and continue to the upside and possibly start talking about some of the heights over here, which could be the case, then I want to still see that healthy trend keep going and still looking for the pullbacks of that same move, which is why I'm looking for a healthy break to the upside. Then I can start talking about some pullbacks to retest the high, or maybe coming back to retest this consolidation on the left there as well. So That is still very much the plan there with dollar CAD. I'm not really interested in the sells until we come back and start breaking structure. So until we start doing something like that, which I know is a pretty big move, but that's what's going to make me be bearish. Otherwise, I need to see some healthy breaks to the upside, and then I can start talking about some buys for dollar CAD. But I think dollar CAD's probably going to wait for USD to break 107.6 as well. If USD does break through that high, then you're probably going to see dollar CAD start trending again. In terms of Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar, these guys were a little bit bullish early this morning. Yeah, a bit bullish there. Push the upside. Again, overall, still looking very bearish. Looks like we're just hanging on to 0.64 area. We didn't get the daily candle close below. Looks like price is reacting very well. I mean, if we do keep falling, we still do have this area here to react with as well. But the key thing with Aussie dollar is bullish structure, which at the moment we still don't have. Market's very consistent with the lower lows and lower highs, so can't be looking to sell to buy just yet. If we start doing something like this, break structure, find a higher low somewhere, that could be a really nice bullish setup. Basically, what Euro USD is doing and Pound USD is doing. Euro, we've got that bullish structure present with the higher highs and higher lows. Hence, why I'm looking to take a buy off that. With Aussie dollar, we don't really have that yet. The market's still bearish. And like I said yesterday, we could still drop a little bit lower to 0.63. But if we do something like this, then we can start talking about some buys. The market's still very overextended. We've had a really big drop since October, I think. Yeah, since October, September, really. So the market's still very stretched and likely to bounce at some point as well. But yeah, I wouldn't be looking to jump in just yet. We're still very consistent with the lower highs and still could see a swing lower. And New Zealand dollar, similar situation with this one as well. I don't think we got a solid or strong candle close yesterday. Yeah, not really. It wasn't breaking through the low. When we last spoke, price was just about trading below, but I said I'll wait for the daily candle closure to see if we really do break through or if we pull back. And as you can see, we got the latter. Price did pull back a bit there. But again, the idea is still looking for a big bounce here for Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar at these levels, but the structure is not quite there yet. So waiting for some development and hopefully some high lows later on, similar to what Euro's done, Pound's doing. Hopefully we can see New Zealand dollar and Aussie dollar follow. But yeah, structure is still looking extremely bearish. I do expect a big pullback for these ones, these markets here. But yeah, nothing on the table just yet. So staying patient. And then in terms of gold and silver, gold was pretty bullish yesterday. Yeah, pretty bullish. I think it has it taken out the high? It's wicked through it, but I don't think it got a candle closure, but it's showing evidence of price pushing to the high. So yeah, if we can keep that up a little bit further, see a nice candle closure, at that point we've got some healthy bullish structure. And this place looks like a nice area for a long. Whether we get the pullback all that way, that's a different question, but that would be a nice area for a long for me. And I'll be looking to take it back to the high. Because at this point, we've got a really strong sell-off. Price kind of invalidated that, taking out that high down the left. Then we've done it again, taking out another high. We had a really strong sell-off there, but it didn't amount to anything. Price didn't create new lows or come back to that previous low. Formed a higher low instead. So looking to see if we try and find the next one and ride that back to the high at 27.89. So yeah, I'm very bullish in gold. As I've been stating, just don't really have a bullish setup to take advantage yet and look to play some entries. But it looks like we're getting that now with gold. If we can take the high out more confidently, pullbacks and then continuations really is the plan. Then, of course, silver. I've been talking highly of silver. Really like the price action of this one. A little bit corrected now, but the idea is still very much the same. Still looking for a swing back to the high. We have broken structure. We have broken structure to the upside, taking out the highs here after a really nice double bottom down at these lows. So I'm still looking at buys. The breakout hasn't been big enough for me to be looking for the retest of this area to play some entries and need the breakout to be a lot bigger than that. If I whip out the fib from the low to the high, you can see we're not even making it close to that 50 there. So I need price to really push further so I can get a healthier pullback and take advantage of those buys. And we are a little bit corrective as well. So I want to see some more momentum come back into the market, some stronger moves. Hopefully I can find a nice pullback somewhere and ride that back to the highs. But yeah, still very bullish on silver. Looking to take this one back to 35. Higher time frames still give me higher highs and higher lows. So for me, a lot of boxes are ticked from a top-down perspective down to the lower time frames as well. So that's a really, really healthy opportunity there with silver because we've got a lot of time frames pointing in the same direction. So yeah, with gold and silver still very bullish. Nothing's changed with that regard. Gold looks like it's catching up and might be seeing some nice opportunities, just not quite there yet. And hopefully, silver can develop a little bit further as well. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD markets in general. Euro USD could end up being a nice buy. It just depends on how we set up here. Judging from the lower time frames, it looks like we probably will get another run to the lows. So maybe if we can see some healthy rejection, might be a nice buy there. If we break through, and of course we see DXY break through as well in the opposite direction, then I would have to relax with that bullish bias on euro. And at that point, you're probably going to push back to 107.6 down USD. And of course, Euro USD is going to make its way back to those respective lows around 1.035. So we'll see what we do at those lows there. I'm going to keep a close eye on that level. But I'm looking for a bounce. What's up, Himanshu? Welcome to the stream. Okay. I will take a look at pound CAD for you. Cease integrated ECB PPI, yes. Yep. NFP in the focus this week. We had NFP last week. We got ECB at 115. We got PPI for USD at 130, all UK time. We got GDP for pound tomorrow. And that's about it tomorrow. We got some other minor news, but nothing really big. But yeah, we had NFP last week. Nenad, what is up? Hope you are doing good. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Will, what is up, my man? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, no worries. I mean, there's so much news, to be fair. Getting caught up with the news. It's quite easy with all the news going around, so I do not blame you. We're doing good, Will. Hope you are doing well. Any markets you guys are looking at, drop it down in the chat, and I will take a look at it. But I'll go through my watch list, which pairs I'm looking at. Hey, what's up, Tony Gold? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Next week is Fed interest rate. Oh, that's going to be interesting. That is going to be interesting. See what the Fed does again. But yeah, I mean, with the news, I'm a very technical based trader, so I'll come up with my bias based on the technicals. I'll let the news do its thing. It's either going to align with that bias, and then I'll get some setup shortly afterwards, or it's going to invalidate the bias, and I need to reanalyze and go again. But yeah, I never try and be too predictive of what the news is going to do, because even if you be predictive, sometimes it just does the opposite. And the reasoning is kind of difficult to understand why it did the opposite. But yeah, that's the market for you sometimes. Anyway, Euro USD, we'll keep an eye on that from the USD standpoint. That's kind of the only USD pair I'm really looking at. I'm also looking at dollar CAD, as I mentioned before, but dollar CAD's got some work to do. Euro USD's at a nice area where buyers could look good. With dollar CAD, if we are going to continue this trend and really just let fly, then I want to see some more evidence of us breaking the high first, and then I'll look for some pullbacks. So I am looking at dollar CAD, but it's probably not going to be an opportunity till next week sometime, if at all, really, because we are looking like we're already failing at the highs and we could come back down. I'm not going to be looking at taking buys off this area just yet. For me to take buys here, I need to see a convincing break of the high first, and then I can start talking about some buys in this region. I'm not going to look to take a buy off there after more of a double top. So not really something I'm looking at right now for dollar CAD, but it could develop into something. As I said, Euro USD is the most developed one. Really nice higher highs and higher lows. We're pulling back into a healthy area of structure. If we can support this and reject this area well, then I'll look at some longs and see if I can take it back to the high and maybe further as well. So that's really where my focus at with USD, and of course, keeping a close eye on silver as well. But silver needs to push on a little bit further. It's getting quite corrective a little bit now. So I want silver to really show some evidence of starting to pick up some momentum again. I hope I can find some pullbacks to get into some longs as well. So silver at this rate, probably more of an opportunity for next week as well, but something I'm keeping a close eye on. With the yen pairs, they're starting to look a little bit more bullish and seeing some more reversal type pullbacks. So I'm being a bit wary with them. I'm still in my CAD yen position, but I'm not really happy with the way this one's pulled back. It's still pretty corrective, but I'm not happy with the way the market's formed this double bottom here and broke structure to the upside. And the only thing that looks good so far is that we're still very corrective in that move. If we were very impulsive and we broke it to the upside, that'll be a really big red flag, and it might be a sign that price is probably going to climb a lot higher. But because we're still corrective, I'm not gonna read too much into it because the market is still very corrective. So I still expect the bigger move to the downside, and of course, my analysis is predominantly from the higher time frames. But with that rejection there and the break of structure, it is a bit more of a red flag, and some other yen pairs not looking as good. But I'm still keeping a close eye on pound yen, still keeping a close eye on CHF JPY. Again, the key reason why I'm still liking pound yen to the downside is because we're still very corrective on this move up. That's one key characteristic I do keep a close eye on, is how does the market pull back? Because with pullbacks, you see pullbacks everywhere, but some pullbacks are going to be healthier to take than others. And one characteristic I like to see is a pullback that's still very, very corrective, because these tend to not last too long, and they do tend to eventually see a move down most of the time. So when I see a pullback that's still very corrective, that does give me confidence that if I do time it well, I can catch a nice short. If the pullback is very impulsive and push it to the upside aggressively, still sometimes there can be some nice sells as well, but they're more difficult to catch, and they're more likely going to actually start a reversal rather than a pullback to continue the trend. So because it's still corrective, I like it. We're still within structure. We've got the equal highs there to an extent. We've got the lower high there as well. And looking at the next one, I think we probably pull back into the 0.618 of this fib. Yeah, we've actually breached that as well. So in a healthy area where price can put a lower high in and possibly continue to the downside. And I'll be looking at pushback to the lows here. And of course, based on my higher time frame outlook, I'm looking for us to come all the way back down to these lows still. So the idea with the yen pairs is still bearish. Definitely some yen pairs look better than others. Pound yen looks still pretty good for me. And we're still in a healthy place for a short as we do come back into some lows down the left. But not quite ready for me yet. As I spoke a lot yesterday, we had a really strong wick to the downside, and price goes really bullish. I said that's not really a healthy sign. I want to see some evidence of wicks to the upside, some really strong rejections for me to get into the trade. Haven't really seen that happen yet. Just a lot more corrective behavior to the upside, which is good because it means price is still not really pushing. If we saw another strong candle close after that big wick and strong close yesterday, that would be a big red flag, but the market's still very corrective on its way up. So I don't expect us to go too far without seeing a nice push to the downside. So the shorts are still very much on here for pound yen, but just not quite ready yet for me to jump in. With CHF JPY, we had some interest rate news this morning. So CHF had a bit of a drop. And we did see price look pretty bearish there, but it just left behind a big wick there. So nothing really in terms of the price action. Again, CHF JPY, another situation where we had a really big wick to the downside, strong close again. So the worst sign or the worst candle close would be another strong candle to the upside. That would be an indication of price really seeing that momentum continue and sustain. But we didn't get that yesterday. Price formed the doji, bearish candle, bullish candle. So again, really just more indecision. So it's a sign that, again, we're still very corrective, looking like we're slowing down. I'm getting ready for the sell I'm looking for. No valid entry signal yet based on the 4-hour time frame for me. So I'm still out of the market, but this is the area which I said last week and the week before that, which is the area which I'll be happy to take some shorts from. We've just about tagged the 0.618, I believe, just about tagged it. And we're trading in a nice healthy area of resistance and support as well. So it's an interesting area. It's a nice area where, again, a lower high could form. Now it's just about timing the market well and finding that entry. And of course, if I don't get anything, I'll stay out the market and stay on the sidelines with it. But CHFJY still looks like a nice short to me. Pound yen still looks like a nice short to me. And of course, CAD yen, I'm still nursing that trade. Although, like I said, I don't like the way CAD yen has pulled back with that double bottom and that break of structure. The only thing that I still like about it is that we're still very corrective on the way up, not seeing much momentum. So if that can continue, stay corrective, then again, I do expect to drop at some point. But in terms of CHF pair, yen pair, sorry, that's kind of where my focus lies. Outside of that, there's not many markets I'm looking at. Yeah. I mean, keep an eye on some of the CAD pairs, but they're not quite developed yet for me in terms of Aussie CAD. I'm looking for a big sell with this one because you got the big break of that trend line not long ago. I'm looking to see if price can have a really strong drop and continue in this bearish trend here. So if that bullish trend is over, I do expect to see a really big move to the downside. So I like Aussie CAD and the shorts it can possibly present us, but not quite there yet. The market's still very corrective. I need price to kind of accelerate its momentum to the downside, break the lows more aggressively. Then I can start looking for pullbacks. At the moment in time, kind of just in this really corrective channel, which isn't something that gives me a lot of confidence to short because typically these channels don't tend to last long and they do tend to break to the upside. So I need to see evidence of momentum taking control and us really breaking down. Same thing with New Zealand CAD as well. We have a large ascending channel on the daily chart, which I do expect to eventually break, at least break again, and get the bigger shorts back to the low. But at the moment in time, not quite seeing that right now. So need to stay patient, need to wait for that momentum to really come into play. Hopefully some breaks through the low there, and then we can talk about some shorts later on. But again, that's more of a trade probably for next week. But yeah, that's really where I'm at with nothing else will really tick my box. I'll keep an eye on the CHF pairs. I'll go to them in detail a bit later. Nenad, what's up? Yeah, JPY was a little bit weak. We did see some upside for some yen pairs. Nothing crazy. We did have that kind of crazy fluctuation in the morning, just before I start my stream. But after that, had a bit of weakness for yen, but not much. Okay, I'll take a look at CHF JPY for you. You got another sell entry at 171.8. Okay, I'll go through pound CAD first because I was supposed to go through that one earlier, but I completely forgot about it. But yeah, pound CAD, I'll take a look at that one. Himanshu, no problem. Okay, CHF pairs as well. Okay, I'll take a look at pound CAD. I'll go through Swiss yen, and I'll discuss some of the CHF pairs. Eric, what's up? Hope you're well. Do you think CHF short is relevant now? I mean, in terms of what we've seen in terms of the reaction, no. But and I'll go clear that up in a moment. What's up, Mort? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I'm doing good, my man. Thank you for asking. I'm doing good. Hope everything is well with you. But yeah, in terms of pound CAD, and then I'll go through some of CHF currency pairs. So yeah, with pound CAD, this one you have shorted. Oh, you're asking is a good time to short the target 175. Okay, that's a pretty big move there, back to the low. And stop loss should be 182. Not a bad place for a stop loss though. So yeah, if you're looking for a push to 185, possibly. I think it's pretty. I'm not say aggressive, but it's optimistic because at the moment in time, the trend to the upside looks like it's still in full flow. and we might still see higher prices for that, and I kind of expect us to actually. So I think a push to 175 is definitely doable. Reason being, last time we were at this area of resistance, that's exactly where price went to. But a first push back to 1775, second test, and we did get pushed to 175. So there is a possibility of us seeing another drop back to that low. I think the shorts look good. It's at a nice healthy place for a short. So it makes a lot of sense to short pound CAD. I just think if you are going to target 175 down here, you probably want to have some measurements in place in terms of managing the trade, aka booking profits as you go along, or potentially trading stops, because there are many opportunities where price can definitely react and continue against you. And you don't want to be in a situation where you're in some nice profits and then price just kind of reverses against you, and then you lose all those floating profits and potentially take a loss unnecessarily just because your target was a bit further on. So yes, 175 is possible. If the trend is going to reverse, then you expect 175 and price to go a lot further than that. But I wouldn't be as confident because the trend is still very much up. So it's not like momentum is in your favor right now. It's a nice place to short because, of course, we've had a lot of evidence of price trying to break through and it's failed. You're back there again, and it looks like price is failing too. So I do like the shorts from that perspective. But I'll be looking at some of these 4-hour areas in terms of levels to book some profits. 179, I think that's a nice area to book some profits where maybe price steps in bullish. Even this low here, I think that's a nice place to look to book some profits. 1775. And of course, if you can break through those two areas, then yeah, 175 is a possible level for price to get to. But these areas could send price back up again. So I would look at securing some profits. In terms of stop loss at 182, I think that makes a lot of sense. You give yourself a bit of room to play with as well. It's above a key level of resistance. So if price does break through 182, there's probably a good chance that we are going to keep pushing higher. So at that point, you really want to be out the trade anyway. So yeah, I think great stop loss placement, nice place for an entry because you're back at these levels here. I think targets are a little bit optimistic, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It means you got a healthy risk reward. But I would suggest looking to manage that trade as it goes in your favor, either taking partials or trading stops at some of those areas I just suggested. So yeah, I like it. I think a nice area. Yeah, just you got that trend you're going against. So that's why I would be a little bit careful in terms of the targets there. But nonetheless, nice entry location and nice stop loss as well. So looking good. In terms of the CHF currency pairs, of course, we had the Swiss interest rate this morning. Did see a bit of movement. CHF was very weak, and we have seen some moves across the board from that. I'll go to CHF JPY first since I was just there, and Nenad says they've got a position open. We tried to sell the position again at 171.854. 171.854. Okay, that's around. Was that yesterday, Nenad? I mean, it's around there somewhere. I mean, yeah, I do have the same bias as you, so I'm looking at a similar move down. It's just that maybe getting into the market a little bit too early, and the market's still pushing up before it does push down. And again, with trading, that's really what you're after. Timing the market well, because the market's either going to go up or down. It's 50-50. And if you do have a sell bias and you are looking to take the market down, then the skill of trading is about timing the market well and capitalizing on that move. Yeah, and it looks like price is still getting ready for that move down. I'm still very bearish with you, so I'm still looking at a similar move. But it looks like the market is still slightly pushing up, especially with the wick close down the 4-hour chart as well. Not looking particularly great. So yeah, I would be a bit careful about jumping into trades, especially on the lower time frames, because it will give you more kind of false signals, especially if you're looking for a big turn of events. Because at the moment, the hourly chart is still pretty bullish. So you're kind of shorting a bullish market here. So if you are going to enter in the low time frames, it's probably best to wait for some evidence of structure breaking, then trying to find some retests in the low time frames on the way down and use that to your advantage. At least the market is bearish at that point, so you can be a little bit more confident with the sells, and you can still target some big targets and have a healthy risk reward. Short of the market now, as we do push up on the lower time frames, is always going to be a bit difficult. Not impossible, but you might have multiple stabs at the trade before it actually does play out. And if your risk reward is big enough, it doesn't really matter really, because if your risk reward's a 5-1, you take 3 losses, you still walk away 2R in profit. So yeah, if your risk reward's big enough, it doesn't really matter too much. But I would suggest maybe looking at that, because if the market is going to keep grinding higher and keep putting these higher lows, and you are going to enter in the low time frames, just waiting for that break of structure gives you a bit more confidence and a bit more probability that your next short could actually be the one that does take price lower on a retest somewhere. So I'll look at that. But yeah, with the 4-hour chart, I'm still eyeing up shorts as well. I'm looking to take my entries on the 4-hour time frame, which is not quite set up yet, but it's in a nice area, which we've discussed. Coming back into the 0.618, we've just about tapped into it, and we'll come back into a nice area of prior resistance with support over there as well. Now looking for it to act as resistance again, 172.5. So it's a nice area. It's an area where we could put the next lower high in. We've done well in the past over here with the high, lower high, then the equal high. Now looking for the next lower high in that sequence. It is a logical area to expect that to happen, but judging from the 4-hour time frame, not quite ready yet, or at least not quite ready for me yet in terms of my confirmations and what I'm looking at. But yeah, keeping a close eye on CHF JPY. I am bearish on this one. In terms of the other CHF pairs I've spoke about, I'm looking for a lot of sales with the CHF markets. At the moment, Aussie CHF is respecting that daily low very, very well. So I can't be looking for sales just yet with Aussie CHF, because the plan is, if we do break through this support, I'm expecting price to push all the way back to that wick low and maybe a lot further as well. So the sales are very much still on for Aussie CHF, because the idea for the sell was that we need to break through 0.56, which we never did. We haven't done that yet. So I'm still waiting for the same thing. It's just because we had the interest rates, CHF was very weak. And of course, that's caused a big push to the upside there for Aussie CHF. So we might still see eventually price make that same move. But of course, it's not quite there yet. In terms of the buys, if you're looking to buy Aussie CHF, it was always have to be on the support level here anyway. So you would have to be in the trade before the interest rates come out. But the sells still stand for me. If you do break the low, I'm looking too short. I'm not looking to short any of these areas in the middle of the range. That's not really what I'm looking at. I'm waiting to see if price can break the low and then find some sells afterwards. So that's still what I'm looking at for Aussie CHF. That's still very much the plan. And then looking to target the lows down there. In terms of New Zealand CHF, I like this one a little bit more because we've already broken through some key lows here. So we had some key areas of support on the left. We've broken through that a long time ago. Now we've broken through another low as well. This low here, we've broken through too. So I am looking at New Zealand CHF pulling back, forming another lower high, then making another move down, just like we did over there. Looking at it happen again, maybe something like this over there, and then we get another short. So New Zealand CHF looks a bit more developed than Aussie CHF because we've been breaking the lows. Aussie's still respecting it. But of course, they're very similar pairs. So I do expect them both eventually to make the same move, which is to the downside. But maybe because the interest rates have been cut for CHF, maybe CHF will be weak for some time. So we might see a bit of an uptrend here for New Zealand CHF and maybe a bit of an uptrend for Aussie CHF as well. But I do think that eventually the bigger move is still down. If I scoot to the higher time frames, look at the bigger picture. I know we had the interest rates today, but the bigger picture is still very much to the downside for Aussie CHF. So I still do expect that overall trend to win and that support level to break. It might just be prolonged by another week now because of the interest rates we've just had. But the sales were never there anyway for Aussie CHF. Like I said, we haven't broken through the level yet. So maybe we do push to the upside for a bit. But New Zealand CHF does look good because we have been breaking the lows. Now, if we can get something like this, there might be a nice sell that does develop after this. So I'll keep an eye on that. In terms of Euro CHF, I'm not a big fan of Euro CHF, to be honest. I know we had a nice little spike there, but price action has just been absolutely awful. Look how corrective all of this is. Just, this is horrendous stuff. Horrendous stuff. So not really looking at Euro CHF, to be honest. I prefer Aussie and New Zealand, even though the price action with them sometimes it isn't much better, but Euro can be very, very choppy. Euro CHF can be very choppy. And the pattern with Euro CHF is that we keep sweeping the lows. So I do think there's a good chance we can do that again as well. So for Euro CHF, I'm still pretty bearish on as well. fact, there's a bit of a trend line here as well. So we might have a slightly deeper correction, come back and test this area, form the next lower high, and again get that next wave to take out the next low, and just keep that pattern going until we eventually break out of it and see price do something like that. But yeah, CHF pairs, still think we can see some downside. Um, the price action is not quite there yet, so I wouldn't be start looking for entries just yet. But overall, I do think we can see a pretty big move happen soon. I appreciate it more. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. But I do appreciate everyone who has done so. It really does help out. Pound Aussie, Danrick. Okay, I'll take a look at Pound Aussie for you, and then I'll go through some yen pairs because I've gone through a few of them, but I'll go through the rest of them because they have been a little bit interesting. Yep, GC. I will take a look at Dark Sean. No problem, Nanad. Happy to help, my man. Happy to help. Yep, that could be the case as well, Eric. That could be the case. I mean, from a fundamental perspective, it does line up pretty well. But again, I let the price action do the talking. Yeah, if that is going to be the case, then I'll wait for that narrative to be printed with the price action, see evidence of that happening with the price action, and hopefully there'll be some setups to follow that narrative. Anyway, I'll go through the rest of the yen. I'll go through Pound Aussie first, then I'll go through the rest of the yen pairs in a moment. So yeah, Pound Aussie. So this is actually a market which I'm getting ready to sell. We have seen a bit of a reaction since we did pierce the highs there. This was a market I was talking about a lot yesterday because yesterday we're looking very bullish. Price was just taking out the highs. I said this is now a very pivotal price for Pound Aussie. We're either going to sustain this move and it's actually going to be a big breakout. We talk about following the trend and so on and so forth, or price is just going to take up the high to then potentially have a really big sell-off and maybe reverse. So I'm still waiting for which price is going to do. Of course, at the moment, it does look like we're having a bit of a fake of the high, and we might be seeing a bit of a trend form, but it's not quite formed yet. I still need to see some lower lows and lower highs, evidence of structure breaking as well, and then I'll be looking for some shorts. But because now we have taken out that daily swing high, now I am looking to sell the market. I was bullish on the way up because we were seeing the higher highs and higher lows. But now that we have taken out that next high, I do expect the next pullback phase to come into play. Maybe the bigger swing is still to the upside, but I'm now looking for the shorts because we just pinched the high there. So this is now bearish territory and bearish structure. Well, not bearish structure just yet, but bearish territory for me. So I will be looking for bearish structure to print. At the moment, we just had a nice drop, but yeah, we very much could form a higher low here and still push up. So it's very important that we create some lower highs here first, and then I can start to discuss some shorts on the way down. So yeah, with Pound Aussie, I like the sells. It's in a nice place for a short. I understand the trend's still up. I'm still seeing momentum, but because we have taken up the highs now, I'm expecting a bigger retracement and a short and some bearish structure to print. Of course, if you do continue and take up the highs, I'll reanalyze and go from there. Maybe the trend is just going to be very bullish and maybe we just fly. But for now, I am looking at some low lows and low highs coming to the market. And hopefully I can plot some sales to take advantage of that. But nothing quite there yet for me. Still very much in the balance, waiting for a bit more development and hopefully a nice sell. In terms of some of the other yen pairs, so we went through CHF JPY, CAD yen. I mentioned pound yen as well, so I still do like the shorts with this one. Pound yen and CHF JPY are still my favored yen pairs to short. It was still very corrective, which is why I like them. People have been asking, are the yen pairs reversing or is this just a pullback? I'm still under the impression that this is just a pullback. And the key reason why is because we're still very corrective on the way up. If price was impulsive and seeing big candles on the way up, then I would be a bit more skeptical because at that point, we might be seeing a reversal because majority of the time, if you're looking at pullbacks, they're very, very corrective. And corrective markets, when we're moving like this, we don't tend to last too long without dumping. So my bias is definitely still short so far with Pound Aussie. and most of the yen pairs as well. We'll go through them. You can still see we're putting these lower highs in, equal highs roughly, lower high there as well. And then we've had a really healthy pullback. So we're in a vicinity where, again, that short could come into play. I'm looking for double tops, bearish engulfing candles, wicks for my entry signal. And yeah, I'm looking to take some entries there to take it back into the low at 188.5, which is all the way down here. But truthfully speaking, I'll be looking to see if I can hold it all the way to 183. We'll look in some gains, but I'll look to see if I can trail some stops on the way down and get some shorts back into the bigger level there. So yeah, with pound Aussie, that's still very much the plan. That is still very much the plan. In terms of euro yen, I'm still looking at the same move as well. I don't like euro yen as much as pound Aussie because number one, pound Aussie's had a bigger pullback, so the risk reward looks a little bit better to the low. And from a daily perspective, the risk reward looks a lot better as well because with euro yen, sorry, we do have some important daily support just below us here, which we just missed with that bearish move. So even though I'm still bearish for euro yen, I do still think price can still fall. If I compare the price action on the daily chart with pound yen, you can see there's a lot further. There's more pips for us to catch. There's more room for us to move into with pound yen. So this is why I'm more attracted to this setup, because I know with a trading stop loss technique, I could be taking advantage of a really big winner here. Same with euro yen as well. It's just that there's a bigger obstacle in our way first. So the room isn't as much. So that's why I'm more focused on pound yen. But it's still another short, still another market which I want to go short with, euro yen, and see another lower high. Really nice structure in the past. High over there, another high, another lower high, another lower high. And if I whip out the fib from the high to the low, we pull back into the 50 just about, having some nice rejections there. Coming back into this area, looks like price is stalling very well. Could be some shorts developing pretty soon for another swing to the low there. So I like what I'm seeing with euro yen. It looks pretty good. It looks like a bit more developed than pound yen, but the idea is that I'm looking to short the yen pairs as a whole. So in terms of which yen pair I'm shorting isn't too important because they tend to make the same move in general. I'm just picking the one that has the best risk reward, giving you the best entry, and gives me a nice stop loss placement as well. Pound yen I prefer just a little bit more, but the idea for euro yen's the same thing as well. Come back into a nice area. Looks like we could be getting ready for the next wave to the downside there. In terms of the other yen pairs, like your Aussie yen, so this one not looking as good. I still do like the setup over here. So the breaking test of that low, if price was to come back and retest that area, that's still really the place I want to short from. But again, we're still very, very far away from that. So I don't see the shorts coming into play with this one. So with Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, I haven't really been too focused on these guys because it's going to take a hell of a move for us to get there in the first place. And I don't see that happening. But yeah, in terms of the direction, still the same thing, looking for more downside into the low. The logic from the higher time frames is basically we've had a really big drop in July, and this is the correction of that drop. So now I'm expecting a continuation back to the low. That's still the main analysis on the higher time frames, the main bias I have and what I'm working with. So if that is the case, if we are seeing a big drop and a continuation of that, then I only want to be looking at shorts and trying to hold them for as long as possible back to the lows. So this is really where I want to get involved with Aussie yen. But yeah, I just don't see us getting there. If we do, I'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, not quite sold on that. Maybe this is going to be a bigger correction. But yeah, expecting that drop there in Aussie yen. New Zealand yen, similar situation as well. Looking at the retest of the consolidation here, back into that low there. So, of course, this was your consolidation. That was your lovely breakout. It would be nice to get a retest of that area. Stops above the high. And then, of course, a lovely move to the lows. If I expand to the daily chart, this is the area I'm expecting price to move towards. So, yeah, still very bearish with ends the JPY, still looking at that bigger move, but at this moment in time, it just doesn't look like we'll get the bigger pullback in. Pound yen has already had a nice pullback. CHF JPY has already had a nice pullback. Even Euro yen's had a nice pullback. So that's kind of where my focus lies. Aussie yen, New Zealand yen, I just don't see these guys coming back to retest their respective ranges. So I'm just going to let them do their thing. But again, this is where I would like to get involved, like to play some entries, just don't see that happening. In terms of dollar yen, this one's had a nice pullback. It's broke through my first area, but it hasn't quite got to the second area. So I gave out 2 areas at the start of the week, actually the start of last week, which I said shorts look nice from. So I talked about this area being 155.5, and the second area I said 153.5. We've broken through that first area after we had that kind of noise and moves from yen yesterday morning. We broke through that area, very strong close above. So I was hoping price will push up a little bit further, test that second area, and then I get the shorts I'm looking for. And again, I'm just going to pick which one I like the most. I might get a short setup on dollar yen, euro yen, pound yen, Swiss yen, all at the same time probably, but I'll just pick one and trade that one. But yeah, with dollar yen, this is the area I'm looking to get involved with. Try and find that next lower high in this bearish sequence. Lovely drop to the downside from this area. And looking at pullback into that level for the shorts. And again, looking at another drop to the downside. But it's a similar situation from the higher time frames. Really strong move to the downside. Rejecting a lovely weekly level here. And now I'm looking at prices continuing. I'm looking at this as a bit of a fake out to the upside. Same with this move. And then as long as we can hold 152, I do think we'll roll over. So yeah, very bearish on dollar yen as well. Not looking as good as some of the others to sell. Would be nice if price was trading a little bit higher up, but of course it's not doing that at the moment. But yeah, I'm still pretty bearish in dollar yen. And with the other yen pairs, and of course, I'll continue to manage CAD yen, which is the only yen pair I'm in at the moment. And the reason why I'm still holding to the position, even though I wasn't a big fan of how we had the pullback, forming the double bottom, breaking structure to the upside, not really something you want to see as a pullback, but because we're still so corrective on the way up, it still gives me confidence that we are likely to see a drop down. If this was an impulsive break and price was seeing some big candles pushing to the upside, I may actually just close the trade early. But was so corrective still. I'm still happy to hold into this one. Stop loss is still trailed just above the zone up there. So I'm still going to see that through. And of course, hopefully get into another yen pair, whether it's pounds, whether it's Swiss yen, is yet to be seen. But I'm liking them. Still seeing rejection. And yeah, we'll keep a close eye on both of them. CHF is really starting to push. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this yen pairs. We'll keep a close eye on them. That's really where my focus has been for the past month at least. Probably longer than that, actually. Where was I? Hey, what's up, Ben? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Market's dead today. A little bit, yeah. I mean, USD definitely. USD looks like again it might be picking up some pace, but I think USD overall might be a little bit dry. I'm expecting a little bit more from CPI yesterday, in fairness, but yeah, not much from CPI. We do have some news today. We got Euro interest rate coming up at 1:15 UK time. We had Swiss in the morning, which did cause some movement to Swiss, in fairness. But USD wise, not much. But we do have USD PPI in the afternoon as well. So hopefully that can rustle some feathers. Gold move this week has been crazy. Yeah, gold's been on the radar a little bit. Hopefully, if that can continue a little bit further, could be talking about some gold longs pretty soon. I'm still liking silver more. I think still silver looks more developed and looks higher quality, but it does look like silver could be getting ready for a big move. And so, and same with gold as well, because if you do break the high, that's evidence of bullish structure for me. And that's all I kind of really need here just to get the ball rolling. And the idea is to look for a pullback buys and see if I can take it back to the high there, because I'm still very bullish on gold. I still do think we're pushing up higher. I really like how the monthly candle closed, last month's candle, because at one point we're looking very bearish. You know, we're having that bearish engulfing candle on the monthly chart, but we had that crazy pullback on gold, and we actually pulled back and left a big wick there for November. So I do think momentum from a monthly standpoint is still very intact, and the market is still very bullish. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do push and create some new highs pretty soon. Maybe even by the end of the year we do that. You know, with December December's candle. So yeah, still really bullish on gold from a top-down perspective. And if you do take up the highs there, that basically reinstates my bullish bias in the 4-hour time frame. And I'll be happy to take some pullbacks. Nice retest of that range would be nice. And a push back to the high. But silver still looks really good as well. A little bit tidier than gold. It's still a bit corrective at the moment in time. So I want price to show me a bit more momentum to the upside. And then I'll start looking for some pullbacks. But the idea is, again, I'm still looking to swing it back to the high. From a daily standpoint, we still do have a lovely push, pullback, push, pullback, looking for the next push. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on gold very much so, but silver still looks really, really good. I'll go through oil and some indices. Oil ready to sell. I think it's coming back. Okay, I'll take a look at oil. And then we'll go through some indices as well for anonymous. Euro Aussie. Okay, Paul, I'll take a look at that for you. Holy One, what is up? Not an AJ. Yeah, need more downside. Way too high above the 50. Okay, I'll take a look at that as well. Currently, Euro USD and New Zealand CAD sells. Okay, nice. Yeah, Euro has been a bit bearish. But I'm still waiting for a bit more information on what USD is going to do at the 107.6 level. Hey, what's up, Marcus? Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Also in New Zealand CAD, nice. So we've got a few people selling New Zealand CAD. I'm pretty bearish on New Zealand CAD as well. Looks like we're breaking out of the big daily channel, so there could be a lot more downside with that one. Marcus, could be wrong. Input reversed. I plan to buy some pairs. Next decent pullback, retracement low on the 4-hour. Whenever it happens, fair enough. I'm still pretty bearish on the yen pairs, as I've just explained. But yeah, if you are looking at the yen pairs pushing back up, it makes sense as well. There has been some dodgy pullbacks with some of them. But the key thing for me, which keeps me bearish, is because the markets are still very corrective on the way up. If we were seeing more excessive price action, because this could turn into a big V shape, which would then make me bullish as well and look at that as a big reversal. If this was a bit stronger and we pushed up a lot further, then I'll be like, okay, that's a big V shape. We're probably looking at a correction and a continuation to the upside and probably the market pushing up. And that could be the case there with the yen pairs in general, but we still look very corrective and I still do expect a lower high to form. Of course, just like you said, I could be wrong as well. And that's the important part about trading, having a bias, having a plan, then trading that plan and waiting for the confirmations for you to get involved. Some trades are going to fail, some trades are going to win. It's about your risk management and how you calculate your risk reward as well. That's really just going to keep you profitable. But we're in some nice areas where I do like some downside. You can see Euro yen still very corrective as well. So it doesn't really give me confidence that price is about to reverse. It could be, but I need to see some heavier candlesticks pushing up and more impulsive price action for me to be sold on the buys. But we'll see how things develop. We could be looking to reverse. And of course, if you get some nice confirmations, look to take it as long as you're managing your risk. That's the most important thing when you are taking your positions. Anyway, let me go through gold, not gold, sorry. Let me go through oil and some of the indices. So with, okay, so you mentioned you're looking to short oil. Yeah, still not a big fan of oil, to be honest. I still like the level here around 72. We've talked a lot about this level, had some nice reactions from that area. And price has done a pretty good job at respecting support here as well on a number of occasions, really. One over there, second there, third, and a fourth as well. So that level has been very, very strong. I think it's a nice place to short oil. I think it's a nice place to short coming back into the high. And the reason I say that is because the market has been forming these lower highs here. 1, 2, 3, and now we're back at the same area. So naturally, if we want to keep up that structure, you would expect a reaction. I just wouldn't look to hold trades for too long because overall oil is in a big consolidation. So when we are trading consolidations, especially if you're not right at the top or right at the bottom, the best thing to do is not be too overly confident with your targets and try and shoot for the moon. like a push all the way down here, we could see that. But there's a chance that we do have that bigger push to the high of the range or the low of the range. And that's really where you want to be trading. That's really where you want to be buying and selling, at the top of the choppy markets or at the bottom. Because if the market keeps fluctuating, effectively, you want to sell at the top. You want to be the highest seller or the lowest buyer in the market. That's where the value is. If the price has gone too high and it's choppy, it's probably going to come back down. So you want to be right at the top. If price is too low, that's where the value is. It's going to probably bounce. This is not really where the market's stretched or trading at a high of the range. This is kind of where you want to focus that efforts, and this is where you want to focus that efforts as well. So the only reason why I do like it is because we do have some consistency with these lower highs. So I think it's a nice place to short if we see some healthy rejection, which so far we're seeing. But as soon as we come back into some of these areas, I would lock in some gains and remove risk just in case we do see that bigger correction to the high. And if it does fail and price does take your stop, you can always look to re-enter there. And if that becomes a success, your risk reward will make back the loss, many times over if you see a full swing. So I think it's a nice place to short. Not the best place, but it makes sense based on the lower highs. And we're seeing some healthy rejection there too. I would be quite actively managing that trade because very, very choppy conditions with oil. Not my favorite price action, I must admit. Anyway, we'll go through some indices. So it looks like some indices are being bullish and some are being just a bit stale. I think US 30 has, that one has still been slowly falling. I think it's coming back into a nice area too long, in fairness. Let me just clean up the chart a little bit. There we go. So I think this is a great place too long. We're not quite there, but we're coming into the area of that nice area of confluence. So we got a lovely demand area there on the left. We had a really strong reaction to the upside. Still haven't come back to revisit that same area. Of course, you got the 0.5, the 0.618, and I'm pretty sure we got the 200 moving average in that confluence as well. So it's a healthy area to buy from. The idea with US 30 is that the market's still so bullish. We're still seeing very consistent higher highs and higher lows. So our job is to try and find that next higher low and catch the next wave to the high. And this is a nice area of confluence where that could happen. So I really like 44K or just underneath 44K, which is where we're trading. I think it's a healthy place for a buy and an area where we can take it right back to resistance again. So US 30 looks like a really good buy. I think US 500 already had a strong move to the upside yesterday. That had a really strong move to the upside. I'm not the biggest fan of S&P 500. The price action isn't looking as great as US 30 or as NAS, which I'll take a look in a second. There's some confluence down here with the 200 and the 50 and the 0.618, but there's no kind of solid level, which is the main confluence I look for in my trades. Everything else is kind of just adding confluence to it, but the key element which I'm buying or selling from is a solid level of support resistance, which is not really visible here with S&P. So I'm not as much of a fan of this one. The NAS I do like, but I think that's kind of flown away a little bit, hasn't it? Yeah, that broke to the upside. So I do like this area here for NAS. Even now the retest of the high there looks good. That's kind of where the confluence lies. But if I whip out the fib from the low to the high now, this is still really the number one area for a long, healthy retracement back into a healthy area of the fib, coming back into the 200. And of course, you've got some nice resistance here, which price broke through. Really strong candle close. Haven't come back for a retest yet. So this looks like really healthy support areas in the market where we could bounce from and take a nice buy. So overall for NAS, still very bullish. Of course, we just created some new highs this morning, but because we're trading at the all-time highs, I do expect a bigger pullback for NAS soon enough. And then the next buy, if you're looking from a swing bias, you're just trying to look for the next wave. This is very much the bullish wave. Now you're waiting for the retracement, and then you're going to look for the next bullish wave, so on and so forth. On an intraday level, it's still very bullish too. So you're looking for pullbacks anyway, possibly back to some areas down here around 21,500. That could present a nice buy there too. But very, very bullish on both or all of these US indices, really. Just about timing the pullbacks well. But US 30 probably looks the best because we haven't really made that up move, and we're coming back into a nice area where at least expect to bounce. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Don't have a voice. That's unfortunate. Will, you only need a keyboard to type for the stream, so as long as your fingers work, that's the most important thing. Andrea can get well soon. We'll get well soon. Andrea, pound USD at intraday. Okay, I'll have a look at pound USD for you. No problem. Dark Sean pound CAD, I'll take a look as well. So I'll go through New Zealand CAD, pound CAD, and pound USD. If someone wants me to take a look at a certain market, let me know. And if you want me to take a look at a certain time frame as well, let me know as well. Okay, take care. We'll have a good one. Get better soon, my man. Don't forget to like and sub, people. Appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. I do appreciate it, guys. And of course, hit the bell whilst you're at it so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But yeah, we'll go through New Zealand CAD, pound CAD, and we'll take a look at pound USD as well. Then I'll go through some crosses. And Euro Aussie, I was supposed to go through that ages ago. I'll take a look at that too. But yeah, New Zealand CAD, I do like this. It's not quite ready yet for a sell for myself just yet, but I am looking at a really big move to the downside. We do have this lovely ascending channel. And because it's so corrective, I do expect this channel to break pretty soon. I don't think we'll go through a bounce to the upside here. I think we're probably going to get the break to the downside. So I'm waiting for the sells and looking to see if I can take it back to the lows here. At the moment in time, dropping to the 4-hour chart, it's not looking as clean. If I just move this out of the way. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. We do have a nice bearish channel here, but the market structure is just way too corrective. So it's not really setting up well for a short. What I want to see is price breaking the lows again. And then maybe I look for the next pullback after that and catch the next sell. So at that point, we'll be trading firmly below that daily channel. And hopefully there's a bit more momentum in the market. Possibly could even look for the retest of this low here, but it has to be a really strong break for me to look for that. So yeah, a lot needs to happen there. But essentially, I do have a bearish bias of New Zealand CAD. I do think that daily channel is going to break, and we're likely going to see a bigger move to the downside, just about staying patient. We're already seeing evidence of it breaking here. Prices tried to have a bounce, but not really playing out too well. So more downside in store for New Zealand CAD, most likely. I'm looking at the same situation for Aussie CAD, which is, of course, a very similar market to New Zealand CAD. Looks like we've broken out the channel for this one as well. As you can see, comfortable bullish channel. Price has broken through that. Had a retest a couple of days ago as well. So I do think this one's going to start to bleed too, but just staying patient and waiting for my opportunities, which not quite available yet, but I do think it's on the card. So staying patient from that front. In terms of pound CAD, and then I'll go through Euro Aussie and pound USD. Pound CAD, as I spoke earlier, it's a nice place for a short. I just wouldn't look for a big move from here because overall the trend is still very bullish. I was actually actively looking to short pound CAD last week from a lower high because we had a lovely drop to the downside. We broke structure here after that lovely double top. First test, second test, broke structure. So I was looking for a lower high on the retest of some of these areas since we had a lovely break of that level. Never had the retest. I was anticipating some shorts from this area. Didn't give me my entry signal, so I stayed out of the market. Fortunately for me, I missed an unnecessary loser. Just waiting for my confirmations allowed me to miss that. But at the same time, this is where I was looking to short from. But because we had such a strong move, I'm now backing away from the market. It does look like we probably will see some downside anyway as we do approach this level. And the market is still pretty extended to the upside, so it's due a pullback. But what I'm looking at is a big V-shaped pattern here. Impulse down, impulse back up again. These type of characteristics normally represent reversal. And I do think the bigger move for pound CAD is probably going to be to the upside to break the high and probably continue this overall bullish trend in the higher time frame. So I would still say upside looks like the likely bigger move for pound CAD. But in the meantime, because we're trading, sales look good. As I said at the start of the stream, I just wouldn't look to hold that trade for too long. So if you can catch some nice sells here at 1.81 for pound CAD, I would say looking to target some areas down here at 1.79. Makes a lot of sense, but I will look to start booking some profits there. Otherwise, it might be a situation where your floating profits disappear and the trend does continue. So watch out for that. But yeah, I would be bearish, at least back to some of these areas for now for pound CAD. In terms of Euro Aussie, this one, not a big fan of the high time frames. Oh, that's not Euro Aussie, that's Euro USD. And just typed it again. So yeah, Euro Aussie, not a big fan of the high time frames with this one. If I go to the weekly chart, you can see overall just very sideways choppy price action. The only thing I do like about this one is that we'll come back into a nice big level in the daily chart, which is a pretty strong level of resistance. So there is a world where we do reject this area and come right back down to the lows. I do think that's the bigger move for Euro Aussie. I do think longer term we're going to see a big move to the downside. It's just difficult to predict such choppy conditions. But if you are going to get involved in a market like this, there's only one place where you want to get involved, and that's at the highs or down right at the lows. So down at these areas here. So being at the highs here is where you want to short from. I would say if you're not really in a short, you kind of missed the boat a little bit with Euro Aussie, unless price does come back for another retest. Then yes, you can look for some entries again, but you don't want to be looking for entries in these areas where price is coming back to its mean. This is not really the place you want to be buying and selling from. You're going to have a lot more luck if price is up at the highs or down at the lows. Of course, nothing's guaranteed, nothing's 100%, but at least when you're at those areas, you can place a solid stop loss and your risk reward is going to be a lot better as well. And just naturally, you're going to have a better win rate at those areas. So yeah, Euro Aussie, I'll focus more at the highs there. I'll focus more at the lows here for some entries because we're neither at one of those areas. Going to have to do some waiting. But yeah, I would be bearish, but I'm not in love with the pair. Because it's very choppy. If it was trending more, I would like it. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm looking at. Shorts around 1.657 or some longs back down here. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Euro Aussie. I'll go over to pound USD intraday for Andre. So yeah, pound USD intraday. So yeah, looking a little bit bearish there. But yeah, pound USD is another market that's consolidating right now. So if you're looking at intraday, as in inside the price action here, I would very much stay away from pound USD. There's nothing to do here unless you're going to try and fade the lows and fade the highs. And what I mean by that is as price makes a way back down to the low, you're looking to try and find a buying opportunity, take it back up again, and vice versa with the highs there. Because otherwise, it's just consolidation, and trying to find trades in the middle of this is just going to be very difficult and to do consistently. So I would stay out of that mess. What I'm looking at for pound USD is still buys. I'm still looking to flow with this bullish structure here: the low, the high, the lower, the higher low, the higher high. But this is the area which I want to buy from. You know, kind of away from the noise, back at a low, and get a solid stop loss there, and hopefully look to take it back to the upside from that area, back to the high, and maybe further as well. The reason why I'm bullish with pound Aussie is because of where we're situated. We're still seeing these big high lows, 1, 2, 3. Looking at this as potentially the fourth as well. So if that is going to be the next high low in the sequence, there is some room to the upside. So that's why I like the buys with pound USD, because we're in that area where we could see the next swing. So I like pound USD from that perspective. And I think this looks like a healthy place to target 1.285. So from an intraday level, it's tough because pound USD is just consolidating. So I wouldn't say there's a clear-cut opportunity to do anything really, unless you're just looking to pick the lows and pick the highs, and then fair enough. But if you're looking for any type of swing move, any type of trend continuation move, then these are the areas 1.266, 1.286 is kind of where I will look to base some moves from. But yeah, that's really what I'm looking at. And I'm looking at the same thing with Euro USD really, which looks a little bit more developed because we've actually had a nice pullback. Pound USD is just kind of consolidated in this area. whereas Euro's actually had a bit of a pullback back into a nice area. So I'm keeping a close eye on Euro because Euro might give me the move, whereas Pound USD might continue to consolidate, maybe randomly have a breakout somewhere. But I'm looking at buys. A big indication of whether we will see that move or not is depending what USD will do. Because at the moment, USD is kind of moving sideways. We've rejected the lows there very well. We're still rejecting the highs. But if USD does break through the high here at 106,600, then I'm going to be pretty bullish for USD and expect to move back to the high here at 107.8. If the market does respect this level, then I'm looking at a big push back to the low end of the range, back to 105.8. So USD is in a pivotal area, and it probably will dictate my bias for the rest of the week, maybe going into next week as well, a big chunk of next week as well. So it really does depend what we do at this level, and that will set up some nice opportunities on the USD markets. But going to keep a close eye to see how we react with the news this afternoon. But yeah, in terms of the other crosses, so Pound Aussie I mentioned before. Like I said, looking for price to turn around, see some lower highs, but need a bit more development. Waiting for something like this to form. If I go to its partner in crime, Pound NZD, this one I'm looking at the same thing as well. This one's been very, very bullish. If I go to the daily chart, you can see overall really healthy, bullish structure to the upside. But I do think now that we've taken out some big highs over here, taking out the highs over here as well, I do think eventually we might see a pretty big move down, but have to stay patient, because the worst thing you can do is expect a reversal, but the market is just not reversing. If the market wants to be bullish and remain bullish, it's going to keep pushing. So you don't want to get in the way of that. So if I'm going to take some shorts, I need to wait and see for some key changes in structure. Then I'll look to try and plot some lower highs somewhere and try and get involved in the pullback. At the moment in time, because we have taken out some major highs on the left here, I am getting ready for some shorts. But yeah, the opportunity is just not ready yet. If anything, we might still pull back and still keep pushing. And maybe I try and sneak some buys in at some point as well. But market's still very bullish, but because we just taken out the high, now I'm looking at price turning around and seeing a bit of a reversal. And that's both for Pound Aussie and Pound NZD. And if I go over to Euro NZD, this one I don't like either, but in terms of a nice opportunity, if I go back to the 4-hour chart, I think this is a nice place for a short. But again, I wouldn't look to hold the trade for too long. Overall, you can see how corrective we are. More or less, you've got your highs of the range up there, and you got the lows down here. Overall, the market is still very, very choppy. But I do think as we do approach some of the areas up here, resistance, 1.825, I think that's a nice place for a short, but I just wouldn't hold for too long. If you can catch a nice reaction, and if we can approach a low like this, say we would push up from there, I think that's a very sensible place to lock in some gains. We could go further, but given how price is moving, it's just very difficult to predict the next move here. If you're up at the high, then yeah, you can have a better prediction. But here, we might form a high, we might still push on first. It's difficult to guess the next move. So in terms of getting a nice trade, I would just look for more of a reaction, lock in some gains, and then leave some positions to trail. If we do go further, great. If not, I've already locked in some gains. So worst case scenario, still walk away with a bit of profit. But it's a nice place for a short back at the high. Similar trade to Euro Aussie, which we just spoke about. If price can push back to the high over there, nice place to short, catch a reaction, and see where we can take it from there. What's up, Kwame? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Can we look at Euro Pound? Okay, Euro Pound looks bearish. Okay, I was just about to get to Euro Pound. We will take a look, no problem. So yeah, Euro Pound has been looking pretty bearish. I haven't kept an eye on it since I last spoke on it yesterday. Okay, it's still falling a little bit. So yeah, with this one, I'm going to wait to see how the monthly candle close. I know that's a long way away from now, but it really is very important because we're either seeing a breakout or price is just having a big fake out. Is this candle here going to close bearish, or is going to leave behind another wick and copy what we've done in the past and close bullish? So although Price is looking very bearish now. Always need to be aware of what we're doing in the higher time frames, excuse me, even if you are trading the low time frames, because things can look very bearish in the low time frames, then all of a sudden things reverse. And just by zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, you can kind of see, okay, come back to a significant area, kind of makes sense why we did reverse. And then you can take advantage of those moves in the opposite direction. So it's not necessarily looking to trade the higher time frame, just to being aware of it. And with euro pound, we're still trading at massive support. Of course, the current candle looks like we're breaking through that, and that could be the case by the end of the month. But I would wait for those 19 days to pass till we get to the end of the month, and then let that be the verdict, because it could easily very much be a case where we form a bit of a wick and push back up again. So yes, we are looking bearish on the low time frames, but I wouldn't be looking to take any big shorts here. So yes, we're looking bearish. We've broken through some key support here as well. I think that it looks like a nice place for a short. Excuse me. But I just wouldn't look to take it too far. So if you catch a short there, nice, things look good. You know, you kind of want to be out straight away at that low. Yes, we might go further, but I wouldn't be surprised if we spin back to the upside again. And I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to be a big fake out and price actually breaks comfortably back above a big fake of the low, and we use that as support to push higher. So I need to be careful of that as well. So yeah, euro pound definitely looking very bearish on the low time frames, but still trading at some significant levels where things can turn around very quickly. And it's still very much early days. You know, we're coming to the middle of the month right now, so we could see the first half of the month be bearish, and then the second half could flip bullish as well. Seen that happen many times. So yeah, I think this looks like a nice place to short. You're in tune with the current environment of euro pound, which is still very bearish. So it's a nice place to short, but be careful. I wouldn't look to be too greedy with targets because we could very much turn around. But yeah, you're definitely right. Low time frames, definitely looking very bearish. In terms of Aussie New Zealand dollar, another cross. I'm actually liking the buys to a degree of Aussie New Zealand dollar, but looks like I might be missing the buys, to be honest. That's a pretty strong move there. So yeah, with this one, I like what we're doing in the higher time frames in particular. We've got the successive high lows from here. As you can see, so many consecutive bounces off this trend line. I'm looking for that to continue to try and find the next one or catch the next one, more or less. Lines up pretty well for the 200 moving average there as well. But we'll see if we can get there because we're looking pretty bullish at the moment. And maybe we are just putting a higher low in to continue. But if we can push down, that'd be absolutely great. And that's why I do want to catch the next higher low in the next bounce. But yeah, Aussie New Zealand dollar, not a pair I look at a lot, but it's definitely coming into some nice areas if it can approach the low here, where turning points look likely. The market could see a nice big move back to the highs again. So I do like Aussie New Zealand dollar. If it does pull back, it's looking pretty bullish now. So maybe I've missed the move. If that's the case, that's the case. But if it does pull back to 1.086, I will keep a close eye for some buys back at these areas to take it back to the upside. But yeah, not my favorite pair, but it's a nice opportunity. I'll keep an eye on that. Same with Euro Pound, not my favorite pair as well, but it's at a nice area where opportunity makes sense. If we are going to break through the low, then there could be a really healthy breakout to take advantage of. At the same time, if we are going to respect this area, then it could be a really nice buy to take advantage of as well. But I'm waiting for a bit more clarity. And that should come with the monthly candle closure, because if it does close below, then yeah, we've got the breakout on our hands, most likely. Of course, nothing's guaranteed, but it makes sense to be. And if we do break comfortably back inside and see a strong close in the monthly chart, probably going to get some nice pullbacks and continuations to take this to the upside. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Euro Pound and Aussie New Zealand dollar and the crosses in general. I do like those pairs, but not quite set up for me just yet. I will go through some more of the C-Chef pairs. Cedric. What's a word that becomes short when you add two letters to it? Oh, shorter. Shorter is a word that becomes shorter when you add two letters to it. You add er, short becomes shorter. Yeah, I got it. Cold, cold. Thinking on the spot there. Some party trick. Yeah, I mean, not the best one because I broke that down pretty easily. Gonna have to get me better than that, Cedric. Um, but yeah, it's just completely different to what we're doing there. But yeah, it's kind of where I'm at with the crosses. But in terms of the C-Chef pairs, um, so we did chat about C-Chef pairs in the beginning and off the interest rates. I was looking for some buys for Aussie Seat Chef in the week, but yeah, the candle was a little bit too big for my liking. But I still think the bigger move is to the downside. So out of the Seat Chef pairs, I mean, I was looking at Pound Seat Chef, but it doesn't look like we're going to get the breakout anymore, at least to the downside anyway. It was a pretty big move, but maybe we're expecting the high to come back down again because, of course, this is the high of the range. We smashed right back into it. This has been the move I've been discussing and hopefully get a push back to the low. But yeah, didn't quite get the break there to the downside. So yeah, with Pound CHF, I do like the sells. I mean, I could look for a stab at the high, try and catch the high there, but I think I missed the boat anyway. Because I wouldn't want to enter that on the 4-hour chart because it means that if I do enter on the 4-hour chart, my entry is going to be way down here. Yeah, stop loss up there. Not the best risk reward opportunity. Kind of want to enter on the lower time frames, like a 15-minute chart, get it right at the high, and really maximize that risk reward. But yeah, with Pound CHF, I'm still looking at the same thing with this one, which is the break of the low. I'm still pretty bearish on the CHF pairs. I know we had the interest rate this morning, and CHF's being weak on that. But I do think overall, if you look at the high time frames for the CHF pairs, overall there's a very strong bearish trend with pretty much all of them. So I do think this is likely to continue to sustain. And I'm just gonna have to time it well in terms of when I get involved. But I actually think that that's not a bad sell really. But the boat's kind of sold. You want to already be in the trade. But the next best opportunity would definitely be the break to the low. I mean, we could break to the upside, but I'm just not really interested in that, especially when we're forming lower highs here. Might just break out to form the next one, and then come back down. But if we can break the low, I do think this can keep falling back to that area. So yeah, with Pound CHF, I'm going to keep an eye on that still. As I spoke with Aussie CHF, still waiting for the big break of that daily level. So 0.56 just above it. If that can break, then I'm looking for a push back into the low there as well. And then hopefully you can get a nice move there. Hopefully a nice little trend continuation, pullbacks on the way down. But I think New Zealand CHF, because it's already broken through some key lows, is probably the one I'll focus on, especially if CHF is going to be a little bit weak based on the interest rate which just happened. If that does continue a little bit longer, might see a nice correction, find that next lower high, and then get the short. Because this one has broken through key support already. So now that area will be turn resistance. I hope you can find the next lower high there and get some nice shorts back into the low, which will be 0.504. So yeah, CHF pairs I do like. Well, some of them at least. New Zealand CHF probably the best one. If Aussie CHF can break out, then I'll like that as well. Same with Pound CHF. CAD CHF, not really have anything to speak on there. Yeah, it had a nice bounce off the low, but that's about it really. Nice area of support, I suppose. So if you're looking for a bit of range play, wasn't really a bad trade. But overall, nothing really to comment on. I do think this one can break the low as well and probably come back to the wick low, I think the other CHF pairs look a little bit better. And of course, you got Euro CHF, which has been pretty messy as well. I do think this is going to eventually push back to the low 2 and just continue to make the new lows like we've been doing. Find the next one. But yeah, price action has been way too corrective. So not interested about getting involved with that one. I think I'm going to have to stay on the sidelines there with Euro CHF. So I'll keep an eye on New Zealand CHF and Pound CHF and Aussie CHF. Those are 3 CHF pairs I do like. Not quite ready yet to be finding any entries, so I'm going to have to be patient from that. But really, my focus is not really with the CHF pairs just yet anyway. It's really with the yen pairs, pound yen, and well, I say my focus is not with the CHF pairs, but CHF JPY is my focus as well. But I kind of look at that more as a yen pair rather than a CHF pair. But it's definitely affected by CHF, of course. But it's at a really nice area for a short. This is the area which I do want to take it to the downside from. So I'm going to have to really keep an eye out on these levels here, because you very much could respect them and give me my entries I'm looking at. I'm looking for more double tops in these areas. We've had some nice rejections of that area, but I'm waiting for price to form the high, come back and retest it, then get the sell. With pound yen, I'm looking for a similar situation as well. But yeah, after that big wick yesterday, it means I have to look for a little bit more before I do take the short. We've seen such a big wick to the downside because price, with that big wick to the downside, it kind of describes price trying to sell off, but completely falling flat on its face and then rejecting really aggressively to the upside. So it's not a good characteristic of what you want to see of a healthy rejection. I'll actually prefer if we got a candle closed there and pushed up rather than the wick. But yeah, it's in a nice area. It looks like we're slowing down already now. So if that can maybe persist, push down a little bit, reject it, another big wick, then yeah, I'll be all over that for a short. And same thing with CHF JPY as well. And of course, CAD Yen, I'll remain in that one and manage that accordingly. But it's going to need some work. Wait, this is Oanda. Let me just shoot over to FX. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, still corrective. So we can still keep on hold onto that position. I was thinking about potentially closing it early if this was a bit more impulsive on the break to the upside, but luckily it wasn't. It's still very corrective. So I want to keep hold onto that position. If we do become impulsive, I may think about closing early. But if the pullback remains corrective, then I still have the expectation of a low high forming and a push down. Still looking to close at 103, which is still pretty far away. Okay, did not mean that to happen at all. Don't know what happened there. Dominion Energy. But yeah, still looking to close at 103, which is more or less back at these lows. And my stop loss is still trail just above that high. But if we do form a high from this and that ends up breaking the lows as such, then yeah, I'll look to trail my stop loss to above that next high. But I'm being very conservative with it. I could have been a bit more aggressive, trading my stops a little bit further. And to be honest, if I was a bit more aggressive trading my stops further, I would be already out the trade because I would have trailed it above these highs here on the left. So I would have trailed it above that high, above that high. I probably would have been got taken out from this move here, which is not a bad trade though. It would be equivalent to a 1 to 4, but I only have half the position remaining. But I do expect us to keep falling, which is why I'm being pretty loose and keeping it up there. And hopefully that plays into my favor, but we'll see. You never know with the markets. You can just play to your strengths, play to what your analysis tells you to do, but whether the market actually does that or not, you only find out in hindsight. Kwame, what is up? Hope you're well. I already said that, but no harm saying it again, I guess. New Zealand dollar looking pretty bearish on daily. Okay, we'll have a look. yeah, New Zealand dollar has been looking pretty bearish. It's still been falling to the downside pretty well. It is still overall continue with that bearish structure, but we are coming back into some big levels of support. So I wouldn't be looking to. Are you looking to short New Zealand dollar? I'm not looking to short it just yet. There is a big level here from 2022, massive lows down there at 0.555. And that could be where New Zealand dollar is working its way towards, back down to this low. But I need it to break through this support level first before I do start talking about some shorts back down there. Because if anything, we could see another big bounce. The market is a bit stretched. We've had a really big move. Overall, if you look at the conditions of the market, we're very, very flat. We've been rejecting high after low after high after low. So the market is doing very well at respecting major support and resistance very well. We respected this area once, twice, third time, fourth time, a fifth, and a sixth time there as well. So it's been acting very well. And now we're coming back into major support too. So I do think we can go for a bit of a bounce. If I'm mistaken and price does see a comfortable break of that support level, then yes, we very much could make our way back to the lows here as well. So yes, you're definitely right. New Zealand dollar has been very bearish, and we could still see some more downside and continuations of that. But I would wait for price to break structure first before I would look for the continuation. And then we can start talking about some shorts again and a push back into the low. If not, then you could actually see some nice buys from that area. As I suggested earlier, if we start seeing some break of structures, some higher lows, there could be some nice buys to take this to the upside because it's due a retracement. So the idea is that we're looking to take some counter trend moves to the upside, but we're coming from an area that makes sense too. And then we can start discussing some buys again. But overall, yeah, you're correct. It's definitely looking bearish, but we're coming to some areas where we might bounce. So keep in mind that area. Nordine, your trades. I could start looking to do that again. I was doing that, but then I got quite busy with the other projects I've been working on. So it's been a while since I've uploaded some more kind of educational videos on my channel. It's mostly just been streams and clips and analysis as well. So yeah, I could start doing that again if you guys are looking for that, Noradine. If you want to see more of those videos, let me know. Ben, what's the plan for indices? Buy. The plan with indices is buy. I actually really like US 30 because S&P and NAS, they both had really big moves to the upside yesterday. But US 30 hasn't done that. I actually quite like that. I kind of start to notice those opportunities a little bit more where I kind of group the major US indices together. So S&P, NAS, and US 30. And then sometimes you see two of them make a move and then the other ones slowly follow along. Like I remember when we had S&P and well, I actually remember two times. There was one time we had S&P and NAS was very bullish and US 30 wasn't, and then it eventually caught up. And there was a time not long ago where US 30 and S&P were very bullish, NAS wasn't. And then NAS eventually pushed on and created new highs. Because if you look at NAS 100, we only created new highs from this high not long ago. This was on the 6th of November. If I go take a look at US 30 on that same date, so 6th November was here. So the price already created new highs past this point, which was 19th of July. If I go back to NAS, 19th of July, I'm pretty sure it lines up with this high. Well, yeah, 12, similar high there, but it took NAS from mid-July all the way to the US elections before we created new highs. But US 30 already did that a long time ago. So the point I'm trying to drill home is that sometimes when S&P makes the move and US 30 makes the move and NAS hasn't, normally NAS is where the opportunity lies because we're probably going to make the move in the next few days or whenever. Maybe next few weeks. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But because US 30 is still kind of on a bearish slant here, it's still slowly falling to the downside. But if you look at NAS has made a really nice charge to the upside yesterday. Same thing with S&P 500. Nice move to the upside too. I think US 30 is where the value is, and it's come back into a nice area anyway too. So yeah, the plan for the indices would be longs on US 30. I'd want to see some bigger pullbacks on Nas and S&P first. But US 30, I like the pullbacks, very really corrective, kind of just like one smooth run to the low. Do you think we can at least bounce? Wake up and buy strategy activated. Yeah, it's not a bad strategy to be fair when you're in a bullish market like this. Want to see more? Okay, I'll make sure I post more. I'll make sure I post more on the Redeem. Better be liking those videos though if I post them. But yeah, I'll make sure to do that. A lot of people did like this video, so I'll make sure I bring them back. Holy One, no sign of Black Swan. Yeah, no sign of Black Swan. But there's always no sign of a Black Swan until there is one. But yeah, I can't remember who it was, but someone was looking for a crazy sell. I think it was on US 30 or maybe another indice for a crazy move. Like I'm pretty sure the risk reward was like a 1 to 87 or something like that on US 30, a massive sell. Yeah, it's always difficult to try and catch a black swan. I'll tell you that for free. Christopher, what's up? Hope you're doing good. Trading the green. Well, not US 30. CAD yen is still in the green. It's been in the green for a long time. I'm looking for it to eventually hit my targets now. Getting tired of the trade a little bit, but hopefully I can find some other yen trades to get involved and really milk the yen pairs. I'm looking for the sells. Pound yen and Swiss yen look like they're slowly taking shape. So I'm going to keep a close eye. Hopefully, maybe a trade at some point this week with them. I still chuckle till this day. Yeah, I mean, everyone starts from somewhere. You're going to have some silly mistakes in the beginning, and some funny moments as well. But that's trading. You gain experience, you learn. And again, trading is it's a focus on probability. You want probability to be on your side, and taking trades which have probability on your side and trying to catch a sell like that, may happen, but the probability of you catching that move is just so tiny. Yeah, it's probably not worth your time. Philip, don't trade indices. Calculating the position size correctly on MT4. Yeah, I mean, it depends what broker you're using. Sometimes the brokers, it depends on which broker you're using to trade the indices with. You can have really big lot sizes, and it doesn't really make sense to trade it with those big lot sizes. So depends what broker you're looking at. But indices are a great market to trade, but you don't necessarily have to look to trade them. Like I said, there's a lot of opportunity. I've been trading FX, since I've started for over 8 years now. So there's opportunities in FX, there's opportunities in gold, silver. Yeah, indices isn't a must, but I think it's a good way to diversify. Because indices is a different ball game to FX. It has actually a direction to it, so you can take advantage of that. FX, it's not really a direction to it, which you can take advantage of that as well. Indices, there's a different flavor. Just conducting technical on NZUSD thing. No problem. But yeah, I mean, NZUSD is definitely very bearish. I can definitely agree with that conduction of your analysis there. NZUSD is definitely looking very bearish. Yeah, as with all the USD pairs as well. But my main focus with USD really will be Euro USD, because I still like the bias of Euro. But it needs to. Dollar needs to respect this level if I am going to take some buys on USD, on Euro USD, because I'm looking for something like this for the dollar, and if we are going to do something like that, then Euro can very much do something like this. Let me get rid of those drawings there. A little bit choppy, but I'm pretty sure you guys get what I'm looking at. So yeah, pull back into there, another push to the upside back into 1.06. If euro is going to do something like that, that means you're probably going to see, of course, DXY do the opposite. So I'm going to keep an eye on that today. We've got PPI news in the afternoon. So I don't know, CPI didn't really cause too much movement yesterday. Maybe this news event might cause a bit more movement. We do have euro at 115 as well, guys. So do keep an eye on that if you are looking to trade euro. Then tomorrow, I don't think there's much apart from maybe GDP. Yeah, GDP for pound in the morning. Yeah, not much tomorrow. All right, take care, Mort. Have a good one, my man. I appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day too. Appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, that's actually good. That's a good point there. Yeah, people don't just buy and make money like clockwork on US 30, regardless of it, we're trading one direction. Yeah, very, very true. Very, very true. The key situation with US 30 and the indices, because they have one direction, it does mean though, let's say if I just put a random buy in, it means that if I don't have a stop loss for that trade, it means that if the history of the market continues and we see the market always create new highs at some point in time, it means that if I don't have a stop loss, eventually I will be back in profit and the market will continue to the high as long as I can hold the position. So in theory, if that is the case with that trade, because you can't say the same with FX, if that's the case with that trade with US 30, that means all that matters is just the timing of my buy. And then that's where your strategy comes into play and you look for your edge and how you want to enter the market and whatnot. All that matters is just that finding the right time to buy, which of course you never know until hindsight. But the idea of trading US 30, at least how I'm looking to trade, is just trying to find the best time to buy. And that's usually when, we've seen some aggressive dips and trying to look to go against that. With FX, because we can go both ways and there's no overall direction, you have to think a little bit more on your feet and be careful where about you getting in. Just because US 30 has the overall direction, 100% means you can definitely get caught out 100%, because in that case everyone's just trading and making millions from US 30, which isn't the case. But what it does mean though is that you're just timing the buys correctly. That's the idea. I can't say the same with FX because the market's not always pushing up or pushing down. So that's what I like about it. But yeah, 100% you'll get caught out as well if you're not careful. Marcus, EuroCAD. No, I have done EuroCAD. I will touch on that for you. Of course. If you're not sensible, you don't have an edge. The market will find you out. Of course, it's just from a perspective of FX, there isn't an overall direction. Well, it depends what FX market looking at. Some do have directions, but they're not clean. They're not really continuous. Like with US 30 or S&P, they're kind of always pushing up. They do have their spells of pushing down, of course, but 90% of the time, these guys are pushing up, or 80% of the time. So you can use that to create an edge from that. But of course, it comes down to timing and your stop loss and your entries. And that's where you eventually, if you're not doing it well, you'll lose money. But that's why people invest in US 30. You don't see really people invest in Euro USD to the same degree. Anyway, let me go through EuroCAD. That's just not the correct place to enter EuroCAD. So EuroCAD, yes. So I do actually like the buys for EuroCAD. I've been pretty bearish with this one, but we had a really aggressive V-shaped pattern there. Then we had a correction and a strong push up. So the sales aren't looking good anymore. And the way I'm looking at price is that we've had this correction, a strong push up, and I'm looking at this as another correction for another push to the upside, at least back to the highs. Overall, the conditions are very choppy, but I like where we're coming into, and this looks like a healthy place for a higher low. So I would be looking at some entry signals in this area for another push back to the high. And again, anticipating another higher low forming. But the only thing is, like I said, I wouldn't look to hold trades for too long because overall EuroCAD is pretty flat. And in terms of the long-term move, I can't get a good read on this one because it's just flat. It's not like we've got a healthy trend here, but because we have come back into some nice structure and we have seen price break some highs here on the left as well, that's a sign that this bullish price action is taking control. So I do like the pullbacks here. It's come back into a nice area and an area where you can see another higher low form and at least catch a bounce back to the high. Whether we continue back to the highs over there or we double top and come back down, I think is a little bit more up in the air. But something like this looks healthy, back to 1.496, and then we see what happens from there. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with EuroCAD. Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, of course, you think of uptrend US 30, buy, so you think it's easy, but yeah, the reality is every market is difficult. Every market is difficult to make a profit, but you have to be a master of a situation, of a pattern, of confidence. You have to be a master of where you want to enter and exit. And just because US 30 has direction doesn't mean you just buy, make profit. Of course, if you're looking from an investing standpoint, like the S&P 500, that's sort of the truth, really. But of course, even with that, there's timing, because if you just buy the S&P now, in a year's time, you might even be down in that position. So it doesn't even make it worth it anyway. So there's so much skill into it. It's just that with US 30 and the indices, it's a little bit different to FX because of the direction. But yeah, you still have to be on your game in both markets to make a profit, which is the only reason why I'm looking to add the indices to my game, to add something different to FX. But yeah, you're 100% right as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the yen pairs, because like I said, those are the only guys which literally on my areas too short from. So pound yen picking up some pace now. Pound yen, okay, I see you. CHF JPY, we doing something similar as well. A little bit, I mean, more so. So yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on these guys because they aren't some nice areas too short. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Not looking to short just yet. Looking for at least a bit of a double top first before I do get involved. But I am looking for some entries to take this one lower. And yeah, back to the low at 188.5. Of course, I'm still gonna be managing CAD again, but these are the only guys really I'm focused on. I'll keep an eye on Euro USD, but there's no setup yet. I think we'll probably have another retest anyway, which will come after the news. So I'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, that's really where my focus lies, ladies and gentlemen, with the FX markets. I'll be live again tomorrow. In fact, I'll be live again today with Trader Nick. So if you guys are free in the afternoon, around 1:45 UK time, I will be live on his channel. So if you do want to see more of me, see what happens with the news with the euro and the USD, of course, we'll discuss that further on his channel. So if you do want to see a bit more of me, make sure you check it out, Trade Nick's channel around that time. But yeah, guys, I really do appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you guys chatting with me and sticking through the stream. If you have enjoyed it, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It does really help out the stream. Do appreciate each and every one of you that does that. And of course, hit the bell whilst you're at it so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel whilst you're at it as well. Free to join discussions, chat with other traders, share ideas as well. And of course, you can find out a little bit more about Elevating Traders, the firm, and you can find your discount opportunities there too. But guys, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day. I'll catch you all in the next one.